Your ancestors would break you. Not in a fight. In a single ordinary morning. For most of human history, comfort did not exist. There were no mattresses, no painkillers, no shoes that fit, no heating, no doctors, no second chances. And yet your ancestors woke up every day and went to work on a planet trying to kill them. You've heard that modern humans are smarter, taller, healthier, and longer living than the humans who came before us. All of that is technically true. But it hides something stranger. Because by almost every physical measure that actually matters, ancient humans were absolute units, and we are the soft, fragile descendants who inherited their genes and forgot how to use them. So the better question isn't whether ancient humans were tougher than us. It's why their bodies were built like that, and what exactly we lost on the way to becoming us. Picture an ancient human from around 30,000 years ago. Not a movie caveman. A real one. Lean, scarred, sun-darkened, walking barefoot across cold ground without flinching. Their grip could crush a modern handshake. Their leg bones were denser than a professional athlete's today. Their teeth were worn flat from chewing things you would refuse to eat. And they had probably already walked more miles before lunch than you will walk this entire week. This isn't a fantasy. It's what the fossils actually show. When anthropologists measure the leg bones of prehistoric foragers, the bone density rivals modern Olympic runners. When they measure the arm bones of ancient women who ground grain by hand, the upper body strength exceeds that of today's elite female rowers. Let that sit for a second. The average prehistoric woman was stronger in the arms than the strongest women alive today. Not because she trained, because that was just Tuesday. Here's the important part. Toughness back then wasn't a personality trait. It was a survival tax. Everybody paid it, or everybody died. There were no soft jobs. No sitting for 8 hours. No food delivered to a door. If you wanted to eat, something had to be hunted, dug up, climbed for, or chased across open ground until it collapsed from exhaustion. That last one isn't a metaphor. For a huge slice of our evolutionary history, humans hunted by simply refusing to stop. We are one of the only animals on Earth built for long-distance running in the heat of the day. Most prey animals sprint, then overheat, then have to rest. Humans don't. We sweat through millions of tiny pores while everything else pants. We have spring-loaded tendons in our legs and a head that stays steady while we run. Our ancestors would jog after an antelope for hours, sometimes a full day, until the animal literally could not move anymore. This is called persistence hunting, and a handful of human groups were still doing it in living memory. Think about that the next time a flight of stairs makes you negotiate with yourself. Imagine you're that ancient hunter. The sun is directly above you. Your feet are bare, calloused into something closer to leather than skin. You haven't eaten since yesterday. And you're smiling because the animal in front of you has finally started to stumble. That is the body you inherited. That is the engine sitting inside you right now, mostly idling. And it gets stranger. Their skulls were thicker than ours. Their jaws were heavier. Their rib cages were wider, packing larger lungs. Their hearts were proportionally bigger. Their immune systems were trained from infancy by a constant barrage of microbes, parasites, and dirt. A modern human child raised in a sterile home would have lasted about a week in a Paleolithic camp. Not because the child was weak, because the child was clean. And cleanliness, it turns out, is a kind of fragility. Researchers studying recent hunter-gatherer groups, like the Hadza in Tanzania and the Tsimane in the Amazon, keep finding the same thing. Almost none of them have heart disease. Almost none of them have type 2 diabetes. Their arteries at age 80 look like the arteries of a 50-year-old in a wealthy country. Their blood pressure barely rises with age. They walk an average of around 5 to 10 miles a day, every day for their entire lives. They don't go to the gym. They are the gym. Now hold that picture, because here's where the story turns. You might be thinking, okay, ancient humans were tougher, harder, and healthier, so they must have lived longer. This is where almost everyone gets it wrong. average life expectancy in prehistoric times really was low, sometimes in the 30s. That number is technically accurate. It is also wildly misleading, because that average is dragged down by one brutal fact. A huge number of children did not survive their first 5 years. Once a prehistoric human made it through childhood, they often lived into their 60s, 70s, and sometimes beyond. Grandparents were not rare. They were essential. There is even a serious scientific idea called the grandmother hypothesis, which argues that human evolution itself was shaped by older women living long past their reproductive years to help feed and raise grandchildren. In other words, ancient humans weren't dying young from being weak. They were either dying as babies or living surprisingly long lives in conditions that would destroy us. A 70-year-old forager could still climb, hunt, walk for miles, and chew tough food with their own original teeth. Most of us at 70 are negotiating with our knees. Quick pause. I want to ask you something honestly, because I think about this a lot. If you could swap one piece of your modern life for one piece of an ancient human's life, the strength, the endurance, the eyesight, the teeth, the sleep, the lack of chronic pain, which would you actually choose? Drop your answer in the comments. I read them, and the ones for this topic always get surprisingly personal. Okay, back to the bodies. Because there is one more layer to this, and it might be the strangest part of all. Modern humans are not weaker because evolution failed. We are weaker because we succeeded. For 2 million years, our bodies were sculpted by relentless pressure. Walk or die. Lift or starve. Endure or vanish. Every soft generation got filtered out before it could pass on its genes. What survived was a creature engineered for hardship. Then, in the blink of evolutionary time, we invented agriculture. Then, cities. Then, chairs. Then, cars. Then sofas and screens and food that requires almost no chewing. In about 10,000 years, a heartbeat to evolution, we removed almost every pressure that built us. Our bones stopped needing to be dense, so they got lighter. Our jaws stopped needing to grind tough roots and raw meat, so they shrank, and our teeth started crowding into mouths too small for them. That is why so many of us need braces. Our immune systems stopped meeting enough microbes, so they started attacking pollen and peanuts and our own tissues. Our eyes stopped scanning distant horizons and started focusing on screens at arm's length, so we became short-sighted in numbers no ancient population ever saw. We didn't lose toughness because we got worse. We lost it because we got comfortable, and comfort is a kind of slow undoing. Here's the unsettling part. Your body still expects the old life. Deep in your DNA, you are still built to walk 12 miles, lift heavy things, sit on the ground, sleep on hard surfaces, fast for a day, sprint when something startles you, and chew food that fights back. When you don't do those things, your body doesn't just stay neutral. It quietly falls apart. Your bones thin. Your muscles shrink. Your blood sugar climbs. Your back starts complaining in your 30s. Your sleep gets shallower. Your mood gets stranger. You are not broken. You are a Paleolithic engine running on the wrong fuel, in the wrong terrain, at the wrong speed. And yet, and this matters, we are not doomed to softies. The same body that adapts to a chair will also adapt to a hill. Modern people who walk daily, lift regularly, eat real food, and sleep in the dark start to look surprisingly close to those hunter-gatherer baselines. Not odd gentle-properties, but close enough to suggest the ancient template is still in there, waiting. You don't need to live in a cave. You just have to occasionally remind your body that it has one. So, were ancient humans tougher than us? Yes. Almost unfairly so. They were stronger, denser, more enduring, more weatherproof, and more disease-resistant than the average modern human will ever be. But they paid for that toughness in blood, hunger, infection, and lost children. We are softer. We are also alive in numbers they could never have imagined, doing things they could never have dreamed. The honest answer isn't that they were better humans, or that we are. The honest answer is that we are the same humans, just running on completely different settings. And tonight, when you climb into a bed they could not have imagined, in a room warmer than any fire they ever built, with food in the kitchen that none of them ever had to chase, Remember that the body lying down is still theirs. Same bones, same heart, same stubborn, sweating, long-distance world-walking engine. You are not a weaker version of an ancient human. You are an ancient human in a world that finally stopped trying to kill you. If this rewired the way you see your own body even a little, hit that like button, because it genuinely helps this channel find more curious people like you. Subscribe to Hominin for more deep dives into who our ancestors really were and why we turned out so strange. And tell me in the comments, what's one ancient habit you'd actually bring back into your modern life? Next time we're going somewhere darker and weirder, into the night, to ask how ancient humans actually slept and why almost everything you'd been told about a good night's rest might be brand new. I'll see you there.